Hi, I'm Dr. Karen Curry Parker here with your weekly Quantum Human Design Energy forecast for the week of January the 21st, 2025. All right, so when we talk about human design or quantum human design, a lot of what we're really looking at is taking back control of the space between stimulus and response. When we are conditioned, meaning when we have strayed away from the story that only each and every one of us is born to live, when you learn that somehow it's not okay or safe or profitable or valuable for you to be who you are and how you are, what happens is we internalize that story and we start to adopt what I'll call a protective identity. And that protective identity causes us to react to the circumstances of life. In other words, when we encounter a stimulus, we get stuck in a tape loop of making the same set of choices about how we're going to respond or react to that stimulus again and again and again. When you decondition, meaning when you remember who you are, the magnificence, the beauty, the power of who you are, your innate creative capacity, and that unique and vital and irreplaceable role that only you can play in the cosmic plan, when you remember that and you live from that place, you start taking back control over the space between stimulus and response. In other words, you start consciously choosing something better, something more worthy of you, and something that's going to take you choice by choice by choice towards the direction that your life is intended to go. You learn to listen to the voice of love's intelligence within you, and you make choices that reflect your right place, your right value, your gifts, your strength, your contribution that you are here to make in this world. Now, I'm telling you this because I have a couple of things for you this week. The first thing that I have for you this week is I have a free ebook for you that I've written called You Are What You Choose. I have to look it up, right? You Are What You Choose, Harness the Power of Quantum Human Design to Transform Your Life. This is an overview of that essential decision-making strategy that we learn in human design. We're going to walk through type and authority and how to really integrate that into the body, which is really your compass that's going to help you know how to take back control over that space between stimulus and response. And if you're interested in getting your free copy of my ebook, I'm going to post the information below, so just click on the link below and then you can sign up and get the ebook and hopefully learn some powerful new ways to tap into the compass that is your body and give you some key skills to learning how to reclaim that space between stimulus and response, choice by choice by choice. The second thing that I just want to share with you all is that there are still a few hard copies of the 2025 Quantum Human Design Evolution Guide. This is your planner for the new 2025 years, which starts on Wednesday of this week. So you want to get your copy as soon as possible so you can work with the energy of the planets to maximize what you create over the arc of 2025 in this beautiful, powerful, creative, transformative year that we're in. If you missed my annual overview for the energy report for the year, go to my YouTube channel. I did a 90-minute overview of the energy report for the year. It's going to give you some deep insights into what you need to be paying attention to and focusing on this year to make the most out of this powerful, transformative energy this year. The third thing that I just want to share with you is Tuesday night at midnight. That's January the 21st at midnight. The coupon to sign up for the Story Lab experience, which is a live 4-hour intensive on Saturday, this upcoming Saturday, January the 25th, from 10 a.m. Central to 1 p.m. Central. The coupon that's going to give you $200 off Story Lab, meaning you get Story Lab for $97. That coupon expires January 21st at midnight. If you want to sign up for Story Lab and start taking back control over that space between stimulus and response and making better, more aligned choices for your life, join me on Saturday for a live 4-hour intensive experience. You're going to learn to use intentional storytelling. This is a method that I did research on for my PhD dissertation. I want you to come and learn how to use this powerful, intentional story rewriting skills so that you can take back control over any of the narratives that you're telling, especially the crummy ones, like the ones that say you can't or you're not worthy. Come on Saturday. We're going to dive deep into some of those stories you're telling. We're going to look at your story through the lens of quantum human design and what you need to do to optimize your narrative so that you can begin to tell a story that's more worthy of the truth of who you are. And you can step into that magnificence and choose better, because you deserve all the goodness that's out there. All right, this is the week. This is the week we've been waiting for all year since the calendar year changed, right? And so this is the year when, this is the week when the Quantum Human Design year begins on Wednesday, January the 22nd, when the sun moves into the gate 41, the gate of imagination. Now, it's interesting to note, and I think it's kind of cool, and when we think about imagination, we have a tendency to think it's the mind, right? And certainly there's dreaming in the mind, right? And that's a powerful part of that imagination process. But really, imagination is in the root center in the human design chart. So we see the gate 41 starts, it's on the root center, pointing towards the emotional solar plexus. And it starts with the question, well, what else is possible? Now, the fact that it's on the root center is really significant, because what it's saying is that you don't have to cook up some brand new idea. You don't have to figure things out in terms of creating something better, building something better for your life. What you need to be doing when we begin this journey of recalibrating ourselves towards a brand new creative cycle, this is the new year, right? That part of what is the source of imagination and inspiration is the world around you, right? You see this beautiful place where I am today. The world around you is a reflection of your narrative. Your story, the story you tell yourself and the world about who you are, what you deserve, what you're capable of, what your limitations are, where your resistance might be, where your gifts are, where your strengths are, where your powers. That whole story is out picturing in your physical world around you. And if you want to evolve, if you want to tell a better story, if you want to take the main character of your story and go on a hero's journey and really transform the character energy that you're living and really become that main character in your narrative, you have to first start by taking stock of what's going on around you, letting that outer world show you where you're at and show you what's the first step, what's the first thing you need to begin redreaming, reimagining in order for you to create something better. And so we begin this new year after, it sort of follows several weeks, really since the end of December. We've been dreaming, right? We've been contemplating, we've been imagining, we've been really, deep diving into the exploration around the question, what's working in my life and how do I want to build more of that? Well, this sun hitting the gate 41 at the beginning of this year says, okay, now we've looked at what's working. We've kind of taken stock of 2025. What's next? What do I want to grow? What do I want to strengthen? Where do I need to look at the story of my life and the outpicturing in the physical world and that root center? Where do I want to look at the story and begin to craft something new, something better? So certainly this week, as we move towards that new year, I really want to invite you to take stock of your physical life, the stories you're telling about who you are and how you are. We're grounded this week in the gate 56. That's that storytelling energy, right? Really look at those stories and take back control of that story. Take back control of the story you tell about who you are and how you are, and then move into leadership with it. Now, leadership energy isn't about seizing, taking, usurping, stealing, coming out on top and defeating everybody else. That's sometimes what we think leadership is, but leadership is actually a frequency of energy, and it's a frequency of energy that happens when we live aligned with our authentic self. So the dreams that you have, the imaginations, the imaginings that you have about who you are, what you want to create this year are grounded, they're rooted in you occupying those energies, becoming those energies, being a verb for those energies. So think about it this way. Buckminster Fuller said something, I'm paraphrasing, something to the extent of, I don't know what I am, I don't think I'm a noun, I seem to be a verb. I love this because that being a verb is in the G center, even though the G center is not technically a motor. But who we are being is a verb, right? Who we are being ultimately ends up being what we're creating in the world. And so here's an invitation for you this week. As you think about this new year and this new energy and taking leadership with this energy, I want you to become who you are, and think of yourself, including your name, as a verb. So as you know, my name is Karen, so my intention is to Karen all year long, right? I'm gonna Karen my life, because what that really means is I'm going to bring the fruition, I'm gonna bring to fulfillment that story that is Karen that only I can fulfill. And in the fulfillment of that story, I'm actually fulfilling my life purpose. And when I live that story, I'm actually fulfilled in the expression of that story. That's what I want for you this year. I want you to figure out your real name, your true name, and become the verbal expression, the verb expression of that name. Become who you are and live who you are as a verb, and lead with who you are as yourself. Okay, that's the new year. The second thing, I just want to point this out. On Tuesday, we have Pluto, which is now in Aquarius, conjunct with the sun. Okay, and that's a pretty powerful combination of energies. Now in the United States on Tuesday, we have day one of the new leadership of a new president in our country. This energy is all about a deep dive shadow energy and empowerment. It is a place where we have awareness and empowerment and the shadow all at the same time. It's a pretty intense, potentially explosive combination of energies that are really going to make us have to go deep, deep, deep into the shadow to find what needs to be healed, released, aligned, and brought to our awareness to bring the shadow back up to the light. Now, for me, when I interpret the gate 60, which is the gate that both Pluto and the sun are highlighting, so there's a conjunction there. That gate 60 is a very interesting energy. It's interesting to me that Trump is going to be inaugurated when the sun is highlighting the gate 60. The gate 60 is an energy that's actually essential for evolution and growth. But it's an interesting energy for evolution and growth. When we look at evolution and growth in the human design chart, it comes in a combination of energies. The first combination is two steps forward. So there's a rapid momentum with mutation. There's a leap forward. But then there's a corresponding energy that's also a step back. And so mutation sort of happens in this start, stop, start, stop, start, stop kind of a way when we look at the energies or the archetypes of mutation in the chart. Now, this gate 60 has been playing out in Pluto for the last more than a year, really longer than a year, longer than more than just a year. And this 60 energy is really in the mutative cycles. It is one of those energies of going back a step. So I like to call it in quantum human design, the gate of conservatism, right? Whenever we have a big surge forward, when we mutate, when we move forward, there's a corresponding pull back, right? When we start to make changes and shifts, there's always a group of people that are like, nah, I don't really wanna, let's go back to how things used to be. Let's go back to the past. Let's go back to, you fill in your own version of that. That's conservatism, right? Conservatism says, let's hold the line. Let's not do things too fast. Let's slow down and try to keep things the way they are, right? That's conservatism. And you can apply that concept to religion, you can apply it to politics, however you want to apply it. I'm taking it out of the context of any specific realm and strictly looking at it as conservatism, holding back, not wanting to move forward. And so we have this new leadership coming in on this energy of conservatism where there's been a harness of making something great again, right? Trying to go back to how things used to be. And here's the thing about evolution, you really can't go back. You really can't go back. And before you can go forward, though, you have to decide that you can't go back. And so this energy, as restrictive and as limiting as it can be, it is the gate of limitation in traditional human design. It's really an important step in mutation. It's really an important step in forward momentum. We have to really make a decision collectively, we're not going to go back. Until we do that, we can't go forward either. We get kind of hung up in limbo. So we have this very interesting, intense energy really coming to a head on Tuesday of getting clear that we can't go back. And that's probably going to take time to get clear on, right? Evolution takes time. In fact, if you go back to Ra's original teachings on the 2027 mutation, he said it's going to take hundreds of years. We've been in it for at least 100 years since the beginning of quantum physics. And certainly it will continue to go on for probably another 100 years, right? It's going to take time for us to grow and evolve. And we may be feeling a sense of urgency. First of all, this is root center energy, so we always feel a sense of urgency with it. And secondly, we've kind of pushed the timeline on our evolution because we've got external physical parameters that are making it feel a little bit more urgent. I want to remind you, when this energy is at play, that time is mutable. It's an artificial construct. Take a deep breath. Don't let the sense of urgency cause you to have either despair or make you feel like we can't move the needle forward on our evolution the way we need to. We are exactly where we need to be to continue growing and evolving as a species. And I want you all to remember, if we're all one organism in a manifested world, if we're just the collapsed quantum potential, one giant aspect of consciousness, we're all moving forward together. You can't not move forward. And so really what's at hand is for us to continue to stand in that space between stimulus and response and not react from old patterns of fear, not be afraid to move forward, and as a result of that, try to go back to how things used to be, but to stand there and say, what's working? That's the other question that the Gate 60 asks us to focus on. What is working? We don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, right? We want to look at what's working. How can we put our focus on that? And how do we grow that, right? How do we take what we know is working and expand upon it? And that's an essential part of our growth and evolution. And so even though this energy that we're in right now, regardless of where you fall on a political spectrum, on any kind of spectrum, this energy feels intense, pressurized, and disruptive. And it's probably going to continue to feel that way for at least another 2 years, maybe longer. And our job as people who are consciously evolving is to stand in that space of the unknown, to get comfortable with that unknown, to get comfortable with the idea that this isn't a zero-sum game, that we can hold multiple options simultaneously. We can have both and all those options. We can continue to look for what is working, put our energy on that question, on the answer to that question, and continue to grow what is working, and we will evolve. And eventually, we're all going to evolve. We're all going to eventually walk through that threshold that takes us into an expansion of consciousness. But in the meantime, don't let the fear or the disruption derail you from staying in charge of the space between stimulus and response. Your job right now is to be as intentional, as deliberate, and as sovereign as possible over your world. No matter what it looks like, you take back control of that space between stimulus and response, and you keep making choice by choice by choice that keeps you in alignment with the story you were born to fulfill, the person you were born to be. That's it. That's what I got for you this week. Have a wonderful week. I will talk to you next week, or I hopefully will see you in Story Lab on Saturday. Bye.